Three modes are sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, tama, ignorance. So, like I said, it's like the matrix. Everything you feel, everything you see is around us. There's a film that came out, some of you will probably remember, in the late 90s with Keanu Reeves, and it was called The Matrix. And it said you can't escape it. It was like this virtual reality where everyone's stuck in there. And, you had to do certain things to get out. But if otherwise you'd be stuck in this place. So the modes of material nature is like this. This material world, it keeps us in this material world because of the three modes of material nature. So let's discuss a bit more about that. So now I've kind of set like a foundation. So I'm gonna go back a bit and say just ask. So we're gonna this is the interactive part. Okay, so like in our life, let's say from waking up in the morning to getting ready, traveling to work or going to university, wherever you do, are we doing those activities choicefully, i.e., we're doing it at free will, or are we being forced to do those activities? Now, everyone has a different circumstance, but think about all the different activities you do. Are you doing it at free will, or are you being forced to do it? Yes.
I would say too, mostly forced, but like coming here, for instance, was out of my free will. I'd say.
I thought you were about to say you were forced to come here. I was going to say. No. So why do you say the others are forced?
I mean, going to work and like.
Oh, good.
There's just not things I would choose to do. I would look for apartments and stuff like that.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Yeah.
I would say that depending on which mode we're most influenced by, we have more or less free will.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Anyone else? Yes.
I would say a lot of things are forced because, I mean, like back in the days, you were free, you was born, and then, you was living on the land and all of that.
Yes.
And now you're living, you can't plant your own food unless you go to certain places. And you can't do what you want to do. You have to pay bills.
Okay. So what about if someone is rich, they have rich parents, and, the parents fund everything. Are they still and they're choosing things to do certain things? They may be going to work, they may be partying, they may be just shopping. Are they being forced to do that? Are they doing it at free will? Who thinks it's free will? Free will? Yeah. Okay. So let's look at some examples, okay? So let's talk about smoking. Is someone smoking because they are being forced to do it, or they're doing it at free will?
It depends.
Yes, elaborate.
I feel like there's probably a stressor that has to activate, some kind of need to smoke in certain people. Of course, they're still choosing to smoke.
Yes.
They're choosing the stressor and they're choosing their relief as the smoke, the cigarette.
Okay.
But I think it's kind of both, right?
Okay. Anyone else would like to? Yes.
I think it's free will to smoke because unless somebody forces you to smoke, then you can say it's forced. You do it of your own free will.
Okay. Okay. So, do you have a hand up at the back? Yes.
I feel like if they are trying to quit but they cannot, then it's
okay.
kind of forced. But if they're smoking because they actually want to do it and they're not trying to quit, then it's free will.
Okay. So yes.
I think it can be like if you smoke a really good Cuban cigar, you're really into it. But if you have a habit and you're smoking out of stress, that's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
So it depends.
Yeah, some people take up smoking due to stress. So with smoking, it's a little bit easy to kind of because, there's the notion of addiction, I smoke because, sometimes you get this type of, I'm trying to think of the term, but let's say biological need to smoke because you become addicted, right? It's very easy to see that because, because I remember one of my friends, who grew up with me and he was encouraged to take a puff of cigarette when we were 16. And, he said, I'm just going to take a puff. By the end of the week, he was smoking a packet of cigarettes. Now, so addiction is very strong. So 100% you're being forced to do it. So it's quite easy. But what about other types of behavior? So we see this group of young people. I mean, kind of reminds me of what I was doing in the 90s. But, they're at a club. They're probably wearing their best clothes. They're probably a bit tipsy, intoxicated. They're dancing, impressing the opposite sex. Are they doing that out of free will, or are they being forced to do it? Free will? Who thinks is what? Who else thinks it's free will? No. Yes.
Yeah, I think it's free will because they choose to go to the party.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
they want to dance. They want to do whatever, like for that day. I think like I see the image and I can just think about just me going to a party and wanting to be with my friends and
So, do you think the element of peer pressure plays a part?
it depends if you don't like it. It's up to the person. That is like sometimes it depends on the person.
Mhm.
Like if a person is more comfortable like saying no,
Yep.
I don't want to go to the party.
Yep.
Then they don't go. But if it's a person that is more influenced, it's easier for them to get influenced or they go with the flow, then like they can go.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else would like to add anything? Yes.
I think of this as conscious versus unconscious rather than free will versus forced.
Okay.
These people, while they may have chosen to go to a club on this particular night, they didn't choose to have that desire.
Okay.
None of us choose to have, for instance, our attraction to the opposite sex. These are things that are just a part of our bodies.
Okay.
And so I would argue that most of our behavior is just simply unconscious behavior versus conscious behavior.
Okay. Great. Anyone else would like to share anything? Yes. You.
Yeah, I was gonna say that at the end of the day, in this situation, it's the human need to connect
Okay.
with others. So I think that's what it is.
Okay. Do you have any psychologists in the room, who would like to share psychological reasoning? Okay. So if we go back to the original verse, so Krishna what did Krishna say? He says that, if I just go back to it, the living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the free modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil amongst various species. Okay. So if you think about it, right? So this what this verse is basically saying is that it's saying that we do things because we get influenced and conditioned by it. So, for example, let's say someone, we gave the example of a cigarette, right? So initially there was some free choice, but after taking that cigarette, he became addicted to it, and it probably will be very difficult for him to give up. He'll have to go to some sort of, I don't know, anonymous thing or something to give up. It's very difficult. So what happens with the modes of material nature, there's goodness, passion, ignorance. Once you associate with a symptom of it, which I'll discuss in a bit, that mode, the more you associate with that mode, you will start to act in a certain way. You will start to associate with that particular mode's qualities. So, for example, you see people. Let's give an example. So people who live in a certain circumstance. Let's say people who are homeless, right? They're in that circumstance. Obviously, they have no choice. But when they live there, they do certain things which we would find quite gross. But so the thing is, but because they've done it again and again, they get used to it. It's normal to them. But for someone like us who are living in homes, nice and clean, we wouldn't be able to do it. It would be too difficult. But the more you associate with something, you become used to it. That's what it means to become conditioned and influenced by something. And you can use that for any example, right? So Krishna says in the next verse, he says that the bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of the free modes of material nature, thinks himself the doer of activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. So what he's saying is that we think we're making choices. We're doing it at free will. No one's forcing us, and whatever happens after that happens. So but we made that choice. But actually, the fact that you made that choice, there's a reason why you made that choice. You didn't make it out of some random vacuum. There's a reason why you made that choice. You could say, well, I was attracted to it, but why are you attracted to it? Why were you in that circumstance? What draws you to that? So everything we do, there's a background behind it. Because in this life and in our previous lives, we have associated with particular qualities. So therefore we're attracted to them. Like someone who grows up in wealth is attracted to wealth. Someone who grows up in the countryside is attracted to countryside. Now, you can say, well, people can change their circumstance and move to a different place and get used to it. That also happens. But for us to choose something, there is a background behind it. It's not a random thing. Otherwise, why are certain people doing certain things? Like, certain people are attracted to certain genre of music, like, rock and roll music, pop music. You could say it's association, but there's people who are in that association, they're not attracted to that lifestyle. Like all my friends would smoke at school. They would take drugs. I never did any of that. I didn't really drink, but I wasn't attracted to it. And it's not, I had the same type of standards, same type of values, but I didn't have that. I wasn't attracted to those things. I was attracted to different things. So there's a background behind it. So because we've associated with a particular mode, the mode is compelling us. It's putting pressure on us to choose that, and it's happening unconsciously. So let's look at an example of this. When I was young, that's what I used to think criminals used to look like. So let's say, a criminal, for whatever circumstance, for whatever reason, he commits a crime. So he's committed a crime. Now he has to escape from the police. The police are chasing him. They eventually catch him because the police will always catch you. So then what happens? He gets arrested, goes to court, and then he goes to jail. So he made that initial choice at the beginning to commit a crime. But everything that happened afterwards, he didn't want that to happen to him. It was a chain reaction to what he did in the beginning, right? Because what criminal wants to be arrested? What criminal wants to go to jail? Nobody. None of them do. But so the modes of material nature is like that. So when you make a decision to associate with a particular mode, there will be a chain reaction, and you will keep going back to it again and again and again. So we can think of many different examples of this. Okay, let's say, for example, someone, let's think of like during COVID, many people took up new hobbies. Sorry. So I was trying to learn the piano. It didn't last very long, but so I was learning the piano. I had a piano teacher, and he said buy a piano. So I bought a cheap one for like £100, which is like $120, and I was playing it. And then slowly, he gave me exercises to do, which was conditioning my fingers to play, and that was making me more and more fluent, So that initial choice created a chain reaction for me to become somewhat, I wouldn't say competent piano player, but create a circumstance where I was able to play. So one initial choice led to that. So when we associate with the modes of maturity, when we make it, so the modes, each of the modes have different qualities, different symptoms. So I'm just gonna basically, I won't be able to go through all of them, but in the Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 14 and chapter 17, Krishna gives a list of things in the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. He says this is what it looks like. This is what are the symptoms. So generally, the mode of goodness is symptomized by knowledge, because the mode of passion is symptomized by fruitive desire, which leads to frustration. The mode of ignorance. What do you think that represents?
Ego?
Ego, but what else? If something is the mode of ignorance, so mode of goodness, generally we think of it as something good. It will lead us to a good, like if you study for your exams, you get a degree at the end. It's a good result. The mode of ignorance is the complete opposite. So it begins with D. What does it usually lead to?
Punishment.
Oh, yeah. That's true. But I'm looking for the word destruction. It generally leads to destruction. But ego is one of them. So basically, when we think of the mode of goodness, we're thinking of things which are based on truth, based on knowledge. They are for the welfare of everybody and yourself. they don't lead to a situation where people are suffering. They rather it uplift people. Okay. The second one, the mode of passion, is quite selfish. It's about yourself. I mean, you're not doing anything destructive. Like, so for example, someone wants to make money and he kind of like, okay, he makes money, but he doesn't really share it with people. He doesn't do any charity work. He doesn't help his family, and then he may spend it on fast cars, mansions, this, that, and he loses it and it leads to frustration. It's not a very pure motive. The mode of ignorance is the complete opposite. It's like you're doing something without any thought, any strategy, and it just leads to your destruction. Like someone taking, taking drugs. In the beginning, it may look cool, but what happens to drugs? It ruins your mind, it ruins your body, and eventually, you'll either die or you'll take to crime to support your lifestyle. So the mode of ignorance will always do that. So this is one of the, and just to try and kind of draw in the point. So if you look at cooking, right? So I'm sure everyone cooks here. So goodness, someone cooking in the mode of goodness, he does it with the right amount of food. He considers the person and is it healthy? He uses quality ingredients. The mode of passion, he considers only the taste. He doesn't consider about the nutritional value. And he's in a hurry doing it, like we've all made in a rush, made a sandwich, quick, take out the fridge and just eat on the way to work. We don't know what we put in it. It probably doesn't taste good. Mode of ignorance. There's no thinking. You're buying something. You put something in your food which could be out of date, which could be full of chemicals, and you've put wrong things in it, and it will just lead to you being unhealthy. Now, if you look at another one, driving. Now, driving. Someone who's driving in the mode of goodness is steady. He's considerate. He's attentive. He's following the laws of the road, and he's safe. He thinks about other people. The mode of passion, too fast. We see that. A lot of people, if they're on the highway, they just drive really fast, especially if they have a fast car. They don't think about other people. They could be talking on their phone, and it's very popular for people to talk on their phone. They're enjoying music, and it can lead to accidents. Some in the mode of ignorance, completely inattentive. He reverses without looking. He doesn't indicate before he changes direction. Can be drunk. Angry at others. He gets angry when someone cuts in front of him. He wants, it leads to road rage, and he breaks the law. So, like a good example of this, when I was in England, I'd see a lot of young kids who would steal cars and they would go on this joyride. They couldn't drive to save their life, and they'd end up crashing. So we call them joyriders. I don't know if you use the same term here. Whereas someone who's responsible, like I'd like to say, police officers, they should know how to drive safely. They're driving safely. They're thinking about others. And they know all the laws of the driving, and they make sure they don't hurt themselves and others. That is the mode of goodness. So if you associate with the mode of goodness, you will get a result which is long lasting, and it's going to basically make you progress more. Like whatever you do, passion will give you some results at the beginning, but then it will, once you've used it up, it will lead to frustration. You'll be like, why did I do this? I'm not satisfied. Like people who buy expensive clothes when they have some money, or they buy fast cars. They buy it because they want the buzz. They want that, that novelty. But once it wears off, they look for the next fix. So it leads to frustration. Ignorance only leads to destruction. So goodness. So we should be trying to work on the platform of goodness. There are many benefits. Okay. So the first benefit is you have a better mode of goodness is all about having food that's healthy and nutritious. And what's the effect of that? You live longer. When you're in a mode of goodness, you think long. You have a strategy. You think long term. If I do this now, I'm going to get a result at the end. You're strategic in your thinking. It's based on knowledge. No, I said that mode of goodness is based on knowledge. It's based on truth. So then, when you have the full picture, and then you can make better choices. Someone living on the street cannot make a good choice as someone living in a house, because their choices are limited. But someone who's in a better situation can make better choices for the improvement of his life and other people's lives. Happiness. He has a greater sense of contentment. I think we've all experienced it. We can go to the park. We can go to the countryside near the beach. We feel peaceful, right? We don't feel agitated. We're not stressed out. But you go in the middle of, I don't know, Times Square. Very stressful. I can't wait to get out of the place. Interesting. I used to think that was the main place to go as a tourist, but now, like living here, you don't think like that anymore. So we are. So we can perceive it, and the amazing thing about this is that what Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita, it's very tangible. So if you associate with a particular symptom, you will that mode will start to condition you. It will start to drive you in that direction. It will compel you to make decisions associated with that mode. Qualities you develop qualities such as compassion, tolerance, determination. They come as a result of you associating with that mode. So the mode of goodness is the best platform. So think about like you're a student, right? And you're a very diligent student. You do all your homework on time. You revise in time. You have a good schedule, so you don't cram last minute. When you go into the exam, you're going to perform. You're going to get that A-star grade. Now imagine someone in the mode of passion, someone who crams last minute. He's partying, he just crams. Some people get good grades. Most of the time, they'll get an average grade. I'm sure we've all done that. The mode of ignorance is a person who does not study. He doesn't even turn up to school. He just turns up at the exam, probably falls asleep at the exam table, and hopes for the best. So it's a thought pattern. It's consciousness. The decisions you make will give you a corresponding result. So therefore, mode of goodness is the best platform. Now, we all do that in our lives. We always try to do things properly. Like when we go to the gym, we use the machines properly. How we associate with people, we follow the conduct of society. This is mode of goodness. Now, but in other areas of our life, we don't choose the mode of goodness. We know it's the best platform. We know doing things in a proper way, with proper knowledge, with the right motivation, in the right circumstance is the best thing, but we don't do it all the time. So despite having this knowledge, why don't we choose the mode of goodness? Why are we not using that? Now, maybe some of you have never heard of the mode of goodness. That's fine. But you know what is the right thing to do with the right motivation, the right circumstance, with the right things. So why don't we always do that? Yes.
Requires more effort.
Requires more effort. Yes. What else?
It's not in our nature.
It's not in our nature. Okay. Next one. Anyone else? Yes.
It requires too much patience sometimes.
Patience. Yes. I remember when I was going to the gym, I was doing boxing actually, and I was like, how long? I was looking at the other boxers, and some of them actually went on to become professional boxers. I was thinking to myself, how long will I be able to before I can do this? And my coach would say, you need to give it time. At least a few years before you can do what these guys can do. So patience, very difficult. So like there are two main reasons I came across. We don't believe it. We don't have faith. It's like we are used to connecting things which are close, adjacent to each other, very close. Like, because our brain, that's the way our brain works. So if something's close to each other, we can connect dots. It's very hard for us to connect the dots that if we put in hard work, if we are patient, if we are truthful, if we are diligent, at the end of it, we're going to get a result. Like someone going to the gym, right? People go like what happens every one of the New Year's resolution. What's the top resolution people do? Is to go to the gym, right? And after they're very fired up. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And they say most of those people drop out after 1 month. They've paid for the whole year, probably I don't know how many hundreds of dollars, and they give up after 1 year. Because they want to see immediate results, but it doesn't work like that. So they're not. So they don't have faith. They don't believe. They want to see immediate results. They don't want to wait. So it's hard for them to have faith. So it's hard to say to someone like a young child, if you work hard in school, if you follow certain conduct, certain rules, you are going to get a good result at the end. It's very hard for a child to do that. It's very hard for people. People want a quick fix. So instead of like going back to the school example, people want to, like especially at university, they just want to party. Because there's pleasure, there's instant pleasure. They can connect the action with the result. Whereas with something like studying, something like working hard, something like putting effort to get to know somebody, to be their friend, or whatever it is, it's too far apart. We can't connect it. So we don't have faith that it's going to work. So therefore, we're not attracted to the mode of goodness. It doesn't give you immediate results. The second one is we see it as boring. Now imagine doing the same thing every day. Even though it's making you better, you're gonna get bored of it. So I remember like there was a famous film in the 80s, Karate Kid. I'm sure most of you have seen it. And I remember like in that scene, there's a scene where I forgot the guy's name now. Anyway, his sensei said, I want you to practice this move. And what he was getting him to wash his cars and wax the cars and polish the floor and paint this the fence. And he did that. And after a while, he got frustrated. He said, "I want to learn karate. I didn't come here to be your odd job guy. I want to learn karate." So then the karate sensei said to him, "You are learning karate. I'm developing your foundation. I'm teaching you the core moves." And then he showed him how to apply that. And then when he saw that, he was like, "Oh, this is right." And that inspired him to keep going. So when something is not spicy, something is not hip, we're not excited by it. Now imagine, like I see on social media, like there's a lot of these like people who write, if you do this, you're gonna make lots of money. If you do this, you can achieve this. And we immediately get attracted because why? Because it's exciting. We don't want to put in effort. We want it. It's a quick fix. We like exciting things, and that is the mode of passion. Who would do something mode of good? Like, we all know that growing our own vegetables, growing our own food, that's what our forefathers did, ancestors did. It was good for us. But who's actually going to go and do it? No, you're just going to go to the shop and buy it from the shop. It's probably got tons of chemicals, GM, this, whatever you can think of. It just makes you ill. But if you were to grow your own vegetables, imagine the amount of effort you have to put in. You have to do mundane, monotone work every day. But it's in that mundane thing is where you make the greatest advancement. And you can apply that to all your lives. Would anyone like to make a point? Share anything similar to this, what they did? Has anyone been in this situation? You better put your hand up, or was it like semi?
Me?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh.
I grow tomatoes, so it's a lot of effort, which kind of goes along with what you're saying. I tell them about like the mundane little things I do to make sure it's okay, so we can eat it and it's healthy and everything.
Yes, thank you. It's in the mundane we make advancement. So the mode of goodness, it's not attractive. It's not appealing, but it's where we are able to become sustained. We're able to make advancement. We're able to be peaceful. Like imagine, like everyone wants to go travel around the world, and young people like to go to these places where there's there's parties. Like in England, a lot of people like to go to a place called Ibiza, right, where there's non-stop partying. But and in the beginning it's really good, right? They like it, but after a while they're gonna get bored of it because that's the problem with the modes of material nature, the mode of passion. You get bored of it after a while. In the beginning it's exciting, but if they were to do something like I don't know, go hiking or do something in the mode of goodness, in the beginning it will be boring, but later on they're gonna start to relish it. They're gonna start to appreciate it. So what's our goal? Our goal is what is so when we ask people what's our goal, what's our ultimate goal in life? No one has a goal? Apart from being rich and famous, of course. Being happy. What could be more important than that? Do you need to be do you need to be rich? Do you need to be famous? Do you need all these things to be happy? No, you don't. You can actually live on a land. Like I've seen there was a survey done many years ago. I think it was about 20 years ago, where the most happiest people are. And it wasn't America, it wasn't England, it wasn't Italy or France, it was Bangladesh. And if you know about Bangladesh's geography, the land, it's like this. So whenever there's a monsoon, because monsoon happens in June, July, Bangladesh basically gets flooded, right? And it's basically land really designed to be flooded. And those people don't have much. It's not a rich country, especially now because there's been something going on. But they are the happiest people, and they have hardly anything. Because true happiness does not come from material things. It comes from something else, which is much more, which gives you more, which gives you peace, which gives you freedom, which gives you happiness. I was watching this program on Netflix. It was talking about the blue zones in America, so around the world, and we were they were talking about different places in the world, and there's one place in particular that stood out for me was in Japan, in Okinawa. And in that village, in that city or island, people live up to like 100 years old. And one of the reasons why they live up to that age is because they live a pure mode of goodness life. They they eat healthy food. They have a sense. They have a community. They have a sense of purpose. And they're not, because Japanese people are known for being very minimalistic. They have a very minimalistic lifestyle, but the core things they're doing is make enabling them to live long, and because their lifestyle is making them happy, they can live longer. And it's such an amazing thing. So our goal is to be happy. And Krishna actually dedicates a chapter in Bhagavad Gita to explain it. So, the reason why Krishna gives the Bhagavad Gita, he's trying to explain the system of the material world. He's trying to say, if you want to be happy, this is what you need to do. You need to associate with the mode of goodness. You need to do this, and then you will be happy. If you associate with the mode of passion, it's going to lead to frustration. If you associate with the mode of ignorance, it's going to lead to destruction. But if you do the mode of goodness, then you will get material happiness. You will be stable. You will be satisfied. Because ultimately, that's what we want. We just want to be satisfied. We want peace of mind. We want to be happy. We don't want other things. Other things cannot make us happy. So now I said, at the beginning, that the modes of material nature condition us, influence us. It keeps us within this material universe, this material world. It keeps us in this, going through this process of birth and death. So why am I recommending the mode of goodness? Why would I contradict myself? The whole point is not to be under the influence. The whole point is to become free from the influence. So Krishna explains that in the Gita, that the mode of goodness is the best platform to get out of this influence of the material modes of material nature, to get out of this world. Why is that? Because the mode of goodness has a certain type of consciousness where you're practicing things with proper knowledge, you're doing things for the right motivation, you're doing it with the right everything. And on that platform, you can practice what we call bhakti yoga. By practicing bhakti yoga, you will make a rapid advancement. So bhakti yoga is chanting Hare Krishna. So we chanted Hare Krishna at the beginning. Reading transcendental literature, eating karma-free food, associating with devotees, coming to a spiritual place. That can only be practiced on a certain platform. You can't do it. Imagine trying to be spiritual in, I don't know, Times Square. It's going to be difficult, right? You're going to have too many distractions. You're probably going to get a headache. But if you went to the park, if you went to the countryside, if you went to the beach, it's the perfect, most conducive environment to practice spirituality. So that platform is basically, we can compare it to when you have when a plane is trying to take off from the terminal. That terminal is is without the terminal, the plane can't take off, because it has to move really fast and take off. But without that terminal, it will not be able to take off. So that mode of goodness is that terminal that we need to get off, that platform we need to get out of this material consciousness, to get out of this material world. So we need the mode of goodness. We cannot reject it. So it's interesting, in this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that he speaks about spiritual things, right? He speaks about, you're not the body. He speaks about his omnipotence. But then in the 14th chapter, he says, I'm about to teach you knowledge which is far greater than what I've taught you before. And what is that knowledge? The knowledge of the modes of material nature. Because using the modes of material nature, which is a material thing, it's a material system, you can use it to get out this material universe. So you can understand what are the symptoms of the mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and basically associate the mode of goodness and practice spirituality and use that to get out and become free. Then you will have proper, true free will. When you make a choice, it will be full of knowledge for the right motivation. It won't be like an impulsive thing. So we can't become completely free from the mode of goodness in the beginning, but we can try our best not to associate with passion and ignorance, because they lead to destruction. They lead to frustration. You will not make any advancement with it, guaranteed. Now, how do we understand the symptoms? Well, we can understand the symptoms by reading the Bhagavad Gita, because Krishna gives, I believe in the 17th or the 14th chapter, he gives a list of things. This is in the mode of goodness, this is in the mode of passion. So for example, food, right? Food, let's say, imagine there's 3 plates. There's mode of goodness plate, which is healthy, organic food, vegetables, right? You eat that, you feel good. Mode of passion plate, spicy, spicy, overcooked, oily. Mode of ignorance food, stale food, meat. These three different types of plates will will have a different type of effect on your body. But if you know the passion and ignorance is the worst one, you're going to choose the mode of goodness one. So like that, we can understand the symptoms of a situation we're facing and make sure we choose the mode of goodness. So we can make conscious decisions which will lead us to freedom step by step. Now, you will know, and like I said, this is very tangible, and Krishna explains that he explains in a very tangible, like you can make like a very simple different, you can make a very simple, you can do something very simple in your life, and you can notice a difference. Like, so for example, how you sit. Like some people slouch, right? But there's a proper form of sitting. If you sit properly, you're not going to get a bad back. You're not going to get, your legs are not going to get numb, right? You're going to notice that effect straight away. How you sleep. Like some people sleep on some people sleep on their stomach. That's considered sleeping in the mode of ignorance. Not good for you. You're gonna end up having a very deep sleep. You're probably not gonna wake up in the morning. You're gonna be more tired than anything. Mode of passion, sleeping on your side. Mode of goodness is sleeping on your back. You have the right amount to sleep, and you will wake up nourished and energized. And that can apply for everything. Waking up early. They say if you oversleep, you end up being more tired. So going sleep early, waking up early, mode of goodness. Waking up in the late morning, say 10 o'clock, mode of passion. Waking up in the late afternoon. There are some people that do that. Mode of ignorance. But what's going to be the result of that? So we can make conscious decisions. You don't, and it's like you don't need to. You know the symptoms because whatever you're trying to do has rules and regulations how to do that properly. So if we do that, then and avoid the mode of passion, ignorance, we will make rapid advancement. Even if your goal is material, you make rapid advancement in your material life. And if you are more keen to become free from the influence, then by reading Bhagavad Gita and applying the principles on the mode of goodness, you're going to overcome the modes of material nature, and you will come beyond, and where you have true autonomy. When you make a a decision, it will not be influenced by something else. It will be purely, it will be free from the contamination of the modes of material nature. So I'm going to finish here. At the end, we're going to give you this Vedic personality index sheet. So I would like you to take it home with you, be honest and tick it, and it will give you a score, and then you'll be able to see whether you're on the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And if you're on the mode of passion, ignorance, don't be like, oh my God, my life's over. No. The whole point is for you to use that and to bring yourself into the mode of goodness. Make simple steps in your life to bring yourself into the mode of goodness. Okay. Do we have any questions? Yes.
I just wanted to know, where did you get your microphone?
I got it from this temple here.
Right here?
Would you like a copy at the end?
Yes.
Yes, you can definitely get a copy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Yes.
Can you offer some practicals on how to get into the mode of goodness?
Well, we were discussing some, but maybe some of the people who are already practitioners, because I'm sure there's many people who already lead the mode of goodness life. Let's see. Would anyone like to share some of their techniques?
What was the exact?
Practical tips to get onto the mode of goodness.
I would say monitoring the people that we have chosen to attach ourselves to.
Okay, good.
So family, we don't really have a say in that.
Yes.
And so to speak, we are too close to that project
Yes.
sometimes to see. So the people who we have chosen to attach ourselves to, we should sit in positive contemplation and ask ourselves, why have I attached myself to those people, or why have they chosen to attach themselves to me? And through that reflection, we can see ourselves in them, and we can see them in us.
Very good. So there's a saying, association acts like a reflection. So if you want to be a businessman, you associate with business people. If you want to be a good student, you associate with students. If you want to be a criminal, associate with a criminal. So whoever you associate with will affect your consciousness. So if you want to, it really depends what your goal is. So if you want to be successful in your field, then you associate with like-minded people. I think for me, the best one, though I don't follow it all the time, is going sleep early, like 10 o'clock, and waking up early. If you do that, it takes 7 to 13 days to make a habit, right? But if you do that, you're going to notice an amazing transformation in your life, in your health. You know, like drinking, like eating food, like me and my wife, we started buying food from the farmers market, and we've noticed a huge difference in our health because that food is organic. It doesn't have chemicals, it doesn't have it doesn't have all these artificial stuff. But just simple steps you can do will have a knock-on effect. I'm just thinking what else. Also, listening to the type of music you listen to. You know, if you're listening to heavy metal, I heard there was like a heavy metal. You go there and people start fighting each other. I know someone used to do that. So listen to music like that. It really affects you. Affects your consciousness. You should try to do. You should try to find out. Try to, try to associate with like-minded people who are aspiring to be on that platform, like the devotees here, and they can guide you. Like, so we have a very mode of goodness lifestyle here. Waking up early, having food which is karma-free, which is organic. We don't talk about mundane things. We don't talk about frivolous things, because also that affects your consciousness. So these little things you can do, it will have an amazing, disproportionate effect on your life. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Anyone else would like to? Yes.
Last one. Pray is always good when we sit and we pray, because it's a consistent reminder of what we had just done, having a conversation with God. And stepping away from a conversation with God, it's
Yes.
difficult to fall back into any other mode than good. And I know that for myself.
Yes.
Any small bad habit, I just prayed 2 hours ago. What am I doing?
Yeah. One thing I noticed is a lot of us, we tend to criticize people, We have a habit of criticizing, complaining. Stop doing that. Just if you can't glorify someone, then just don't speak about them. And start start saying something positive. Read something positive. Like if you read the Bhagavad Gita, it will have an amazing effect on your consciousness. You'll feel uplifted. You'll feel positive. Things like that you can do, and it will your rest of your day will go really nicely. Got another 10 minutes if anyone would like to ask a question. Okay, so just to wrap up, I'll just kind of So what are the three modes of material nature? Who would like to say what I just said? What are the three modes? They are?
Goodness, passion.
Can we escape the three modes of material nature? No. Did they pervade everything? Yes. So what is the best platform for us to be materially and spiritually? The mode of goodness. What is the mode of knowledge? What represents the mode of knowledge? Begins with K. The mode of goodness. What represents the mode of goodness? What is an example of the mode of goodness?
Kindness.
Another word. Knowledge. Proper knowledge. Okay. And why do we need the mode of goodness to practice spirituality?
To happiness.
It leads to happiness, yes, but there's something else. Remember I gave the example of the plane and the runway. It's the best platform to practice spirituality. So, I'm trying to think of another question now. I had it in my head, I forgot now. So please read the Gita. Very practical, very tangible. You do an experiment. Go sleep early tonight and wake up early tomorrow. Do it for 7 to 13 days and you will notice a huge effect on your consciousness. You and try to listen to music that doesn't agitate you, that doesn't make you angry, makes you peaceful. Like, I don't know, listen to spiritual music. Listen to something that's designed to make you feel peaceful. Try to associate with people who don't do bad things. Try to associate with people who do good things. And you will see that what I'm saying come alive for you. And when I said that, it's there's not a huge distance between the action and the effect. It's very close. You'll notice it straight away, even with the little things. And the more you do associate with the mode of goodness, you will make decisions naturally in the mode of goodness. It will be second nature to you. You will stay away from the mode of passion and ignorance. And when you augment that with spirituality, with spiritual activities, then you'll become free from the mode of material nature. Okay, I'll finish here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you, Dharmaraj. Cool. Let's give her another big round of applause.